Now, right? Y'all on the
Yep.
East Coast?
We live. Yep. We
Yeah.
on the East Coast. What's up,
Got you.
man? Hey, T, Eugene. We here with Double Muscle Line Bullies. Um, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Breeder Webpage logo. He did my new logo. It's dope. It features actually two of our dogs and one of the dogs that is coming to join us. So and then Nails Next Door. That's my cousin. She does nails in Charlottesville, Virginia. So if you're ever in town, need your nails done, she'll get you right. But on to the dogs. That's what we're here to talk
Yeah.
about. So welcome to the show. I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll get right to it.
What's going on? What's going on, fellas? What's going on, Bully fam? Most people know me as an educator, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls. And hey, I'm honored that want to sit down and chop it up with me, and whatever questions, whatever y'all want to talk about, that's what tonight's for.
Okay. So I guess my first question would be, what made you get into the dog world?
What made me get into the dog game is and this was back in like 2012. Like this is quite some time ago. I first seen this. Let me even take it even further. This was back when they were breeding extreme dogs, so there was no micro exotics, none of that. We were I first saw extreme bully, and when I saw that, it just kind of like, I think this happens for a lot of people. They see it in person, they're like, yo, I never seen nothing like that, and then you get hooked. It's like a drug, and then you want to have these dogs, and then at the time, in order to have the dogs that I wanted, I didn't want to be a breeder, but in order to have the dogs that I wanted, I was either going to spend 20 to 50K or produce it myself, and that's the route that I ultimately took, was producing the look I wanted myself, and then being able to give it to other
people. That's what's up. So not only do you breed dogs, you got your own YouTube channel where you do crazy videos all the time, like all the time, and you drop amazing knowledge. So plug that so everybody is watching. If they don't have that, they can subscribe and tell us a little bit more about the health aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky and fortunate enough to have a mentor that was very analytical and very like into the science of dog breeding, not for the fame or the notoriety or any of that. He was strictly just into the science of it, genetics. That's what interested him, was being able to manipulate the genetics and create something. So naturally, seeing firsthand him, that me was very interested into the genetics. When I got into the dog game, there wasn't, at least in my vision, there wasn't really breeders who were like getting super like known off just dogs. It was all about just breeding dogs, at least the circles that I was around. So anyway, he was so analytical with it that it naturally rubbed off on me. And when he kind of got incarcerated, not sharing YouTube, people just kind of gravitated. I didn't realize there wasn't a lot of people actually sharing real dog breeding knowledge on YouTube, and shared it on Instagram, and it kind of just took off too.
Yeah, people hide a lot. They hide a whole lot. They only tell you what they want you to see or what they want you to know. They hide a whole lot.
There's a lot of breeders. There's two breeders out there. There's a few breeders out there. You got breeders who they don't want to share their knowledge because of the fact that they feel like you have to spend money with them. There's breeders out there that don't share knowledge because maybe they don't quite have the knowledge like that, and then you do have some breeders out there like me that are more than willing to give the knowledge out. So I just happen to fall into that category.
Yeah. Do you feel like some breeders kind of take it personal because they didn't have anybody to give them the knowledge, so they like, I kind of learned it on my own?
Yeah,
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like it's not a good, in my opinion, it's not a good mentality, because I believe in the universe. It's like you get what you give. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I may not financially gain off of the knowledge that I'm giving you, but if I genuinely love dogs, it don't cost me to give you that knowledge. And like I said, it's just funny how the universe works. That like I was giving out all this free knowledge while, you know, I was working hard, working a job, all that stuff, and then fast forward, like people started buying our products and all kinds of stuff, and I was able to quit my dog. The universe gives back what you give. You know?
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's what's up. So your dog line, how did you come up with the name, and where did that come from?
Yeah, so the Angry Toy Bulls, that got started because it was kind of coincidental breeding. Like it was an exotic breeding by design, but we didn't expect the producers a very designer.
We losing your audio a little bit.
Oh, let me see. How about now?
Yep, you're good now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the breed that we produce is a very designer breed, and this one breeding, and we call it the F1 breeding, produced very exaggerated features, very a mean Grinch-looking face on an exotic dog. And then once we produced that look, we fell in love with it, and then just kind of ran with that, and that became our signature look. Was we call them Angry Toy Bulls because they're exotic bullies. They're toy-sized bullies, but with a exact face. It's kind of different, and we just ran with it. We like being different.
So what's the average weight? Like, what's the normal size of one of those?
I would say the average.
You said toy.
I would say the average weight is like maybe, and a lot of people, like certain breeders get hooked onto stats, like how big is the dog's head, how tall is the dog, things like that. I just go based off of overall structure. I'll take a dog that is maybe a little bit taller or a little bit heavier, whatever the case may be, if it brings a lot of the other characteristics to the table that I need as a tool, But anyway, I would say like probably around like 30 to 40 pounds.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, around 30 to 40 pounds, that's usually around the weight size. Yeah, that's anger management right there.
Yeah.
So that's the exaggerated look that you were talking about.
Yeah. And that's just one of them. Like, you look at, people will tell you, look at all my dogs, it's a pretty consistent look,
Yeah.
How old is he?
He is now if you look at pictures of him now, he's a little over a year old.
Okay.
So he's pushing, he's a big boy. He's pushing like maybe 48 pounds. He's a little bit he's a little bit bigger, but I mean the dog has a massive head, insane bone. That's the one thing I love about our blood. It brings crazy bone to the table.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an XL come to our house, and I had him side by side with the XL, and his bone was identical to the XL. So that just tells you, on such a compact dog, we call them like little big dogs.
Yeah.
Because of their features, And that's real quick. That's kind of what also got us into breeding that look. It was like, wow, we can have. The big extreme dogs is what got me started. The standards. If I can have all the features on a shrunken down frame, I love it. I have more of them,
Yeah. Lot. So as far as food, how much do they eat?
I couldn't really say like how much do they eat because I let my dogs free feed.
Okay.
He has different, philosophies.
Metabolism and everything.
For me, I let them free feed, so I really couldn't say because I got too many dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all go through a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, do you ever get like any flack as far as the type of dog that you breed, like as far as like the movement or anything like that? Do you have a lot of dogs that struggle with movement, or is it just like they still move pretty good?
They move pretty good, and it all comes down to if you're a real breeder, you know how to address flaws head on. You know what I'm saying? You're not, you're not like, for me, for example, like, and that's what I love about this breed. It really challenged me as a breeder. So when you know how to deal with like I said, issues and things like that head on. For me, I don't have any problems, especially like surprisingly, like one of the biggest things is, this goes with the boys across the board, is breathing. I really don't have breathing problems, because what I found was, especially with the one you showed, his nostrils, his nares are so enlarged that he breathes amazingly. And I mean,
Yeah.
he'll be outside and outrun my standard that I have. So things like that, breeders. I mean, this it's any breed. You're gonna have some breeders who aren't as knowledgeable, and that's where a lot of flaws come into play. For me, I look at it as a challenge. I like it, and yeah, I mean, some people hate the breed, because of the negative, that people bring,
Yeah.
laws and stuff like that. Us over here, that's not really an issue, And one other thing I'll just say is, like, I feel a lot of other breeds, we've earned respect from a lot of other breeds just because of us. I'm talking about my kennel individually, just because of the knowledge that we bring. They say, "Oh wow, it's not just some uneducated exotic breeder putting together unfunctional dogs." They say, "Oh, I know something."
Yeah, and like that's the only thing that I see, like with a lot of exotic breeders, is that the dogs aren't functional. So even though you want that look, you want the smaller dog with that look, like it's still a dog. So at the end of the day, it should be functional as a dog. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not a working breed, but
Oh no, not that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We got that. I mean, I understand that, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, just like being able to run, like,
Yeah.
even and it doesn't have to be for a long time, but
Yeah.
if you just want your dog to just be able to run across the yard, play with your dog, or with
Yeah.
the kids or whatever, you want your dog to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. And I just look at it like cars. You know what I'm saying? You have different models of cars. I want a car that's going to pull weight to out of weight. Buy a Lamborghini. I'm going to buy a pickup truck. Do the work done. So I think each breed has its place. And each breed is also flaws and problems. The exotic breed is still a very young breed. These are been around for hundreds of years. So it's got a lot of kinks that got to get ironed out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, didn't exotics get not banned, but what registry doesn't accept exotics now? Isn't there a registry that doesn't?
There's probably a few. There's probably a
Yeah.
few. And
So is that hard to do?
Not really. I mean, honestly, we actually just came out with our own registry recently.
Okay.
And the reason being was because of the fact that and it wasn't even just because of exotics. This was just because, like I tell people, I'm a breeder first, and then I do stuff. We created the registry because we felt like these registries are really kind of ripoffs, in my opinion. So we created the first ever completely digital registry, where you have all your paperwork digitally. If you want, your physical paper copy, we can send you a copy. But essentially, there you go. The digital is the most important, and just making it easier, especially for us breeders, But they don't really, in my opinion, kind of care about. I was on the phone with UKC for like an hour, and then when that happened, I was like, I'm done, and I went to another registry. DCR is kind of hopefully the solution to a lot of our problems as breeders. But to answer your question, I'm sorry. When it comes to the exotic bully, they're the biggest registry right now for the exotic bully is probably ABR, American. They've been a lot of exotic breeders switch over. There's quite a few registries that have opened up for the exotic bully.
That's what's up. Yeah, because I had seen somebody had posted something on YouTube, and they were talking about how it's hard to register exotics now. This
Yeah.
has been a minute. This is a minute ago. This was maybe like the end of last summer into like the winter.
Okay.
They were talking about it. Someone had like stopped doing it, and then also vets had stopped doing C-sections.
Oh wow, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was something I had seen. Somebody actually kind of local here was talking about vets where they hadn't done it yet, but they said they were going to stop, doing stuff with exotics.
Wow.
Just because a lot of them weren't functional. They were getting a lot coming back when the back legs weren't, you know what I'm saying, wasn't working properly and stuff like that. So they said they didn't want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Subvert them.
I could understand that. I mean, and honestly, in my opinion, it's not so much the breed that's the issue, in my opinion, with these.
It's the owner.
Breeds. I don't really think it's the breed that they have a problem with. I think it's the demographic of people that they have a problem with, because there's new breeds. I mean, there's always going to be new breeds. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of dog breeding is. Like, I mean, to think that we're just going to stop at the set breeds that are here now. I mean, that's, I mean, think about all the breeds that have, are established right now. At one point or another, they were new,
That's
so. But in my opinion, I like I said, I think the issue, especially with like UKC and AKC, is because of the demographic that come along with it. So even more so, that's what also motivated me to want to do these videos and things like that, is because they see someone like me and they're like, holy cow, he's, the demographic that he comes from, he's covered in tattoos, but he speaks actually intellectual, like he speaks like he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He is talking about something and really like intricate breeding, not that the average breeder would know. So it's like, it's just more for representation as well,
Yeah, you've definitely done your studying.
So how much?
I can tell from the video.
How many dogs would you say you have in your registry right now?
In the registry, the registry started, I would say maybe like last year. I think within the last year it started. Okay. A few hundred dogs registered and stuff like that. We originally started with like an NFT based system, which these was.
Yeah, we losing you again. I don't know what it is. Let's see.
I don't know if it's me. My signal's pretty good. How about now?
Is it now? You're good right there. I don't know. Is your microphone like on anything? Like sitting on anything? No.
Let me move this up. Let me see. Maybe. How about now?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So like I was saying, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought actually.
No, you're good. You were talking
about how many, the quantity, how many dogs you have registered.
Yeah, so we started with the NFT based system because NFTs were hot at the time, like last year. And then we kind of took away the NFT thing because it was just adding too many steps for people to have their digital wallets and things like that to hope to have these certificates as NFTs in their phones. So now switched over to a different system. It's made it a lot more user friendly, and now we're seeing more people start to jump on.
Okay, that's what's up. So do you plan on doing like in the future? Not right now, but in the future, do you plan on doing like dog shows and being able to champion out dogs in your registry and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do see that in the future. It's just something that, I mean, I guess it is something that we want to do in the future. I'm not even gonna lie. There's like a lot of stuff I want to do in the future. Yeah. So we're also currently working on opening up a store. We're working right now. We just launched a product, a new prenatal and a new supplement for studs. Things like that. I hope we're not jumping the gun.
We're not jumping the gun.
All right. Cool.
Wait a minute. You never told me you got blessed with some of this stuff.
Man, he took you up.
I got a English bulldog right now that I'm studying out, and then I got my female. I see how you do, T.
My green screen is messing it up.
I don't even want to see it. I ain't even getting no love.
But yeah, like I said, there's a lot that I got going on right now. So the goal is, as far as shows go, I would like to maybe work with individuals that would like to host the shows for the registry. But as far as for myself, Like my schedule is spread so thin. I thought when I would quit my job and become a full-time dog breeder, I'd have more time. I have less time now. So that would be the goal. Is hopefully maybe we could get people on board on host shows.
Okay.
So what do you think about dog shows? Do you
When
do you put dogs in shows?
not anymore, but that was because I was doing shows for the past like 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I think like it depends. It depends on your reasons as to why you got into dog breeding in the first place. Like for me, when I first got started, and I think a lot of people when you first get started, you need to earn your stripes. So I think definitely going into the show ring, showing what you got, just even getting your name out there over time. Like for me, I'm more interested in creating something different, creating something new. I don't really I've been doing it for so long, and I have the resume and the clientele to show. I don't, at least for me, I don't really feel the need to prove myself because I'm not really concerned about what the other person's producing or comparing my stuff to their stuff. I'm worried about what I'm producing and
Yeah.
what I'm not really like trying. I don't care to be in competition with anyone else anymore because I'm really trying to do. I don't want my dog to look similar to someone else's. I'm trying to create, like I said, that Angry Toy Bulls, and to my knowledge, no one else is creating that. So I can look at somebody else's dog and appreciate their dog for what it looks like. But for me, I'm just, I guess you could say maybe I'm retired. I don't know. I don't have that interest to be in the show ring anymore. But at one time, I was very competitive in the show ring. Just to get my name out there. Show that we're producing nice dogs. So
Okay.
I can't hear.
T, we can't hear you, T.
Yeah.
Would you be can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you be interested in judging shows in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I get some shows that they'll contact me and want me to judge or whatever the case may be. I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people feel like my opinion is a little unbiased, so I guess that's why they like to ask me my opinion. But yeah, like I said, I mean, you know what it is, and it's funny because a lot of other breeders that have been breeding just as long as me, or if not longer, um, unless you got into it for the reason of showing your dogs, if you're really interested in more of the creating something new and the real just breeding aspect, the only time I would want to bring out my dogs is if I maybe wanted to compare to other dogs, But other than that, and yeah, like I said, we've champed out. I used to go in ABKC.
Okay.
So
that would for your registry, how long do you think before you would? I mean, obviously it wouldn't be close, but before you could actually have a champion in your registry, or if they do register and their dog is a champion, does that champion come to your registry?
So the way so right now, as far as like champions and stuff like that goes, we're not really like emphasizing so much on the show aspect because we want people to just kind of come over at first. If someone was willing to do a show like tomorrow, then I would be willing to work with them. I'd work overnight to make sure we get a nice structure so that then we can start checking dogs. But at least as for right now, it's not really the most highest priority. But I mean, like I said, I'm definitely open to it. It's just, I guess for me, it's like I'm only one person, so I can only do yet so much,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So your products, you sent me some products.
Yeah.
So, hey, bro, I literally check my mail like once a week. I'm not even exaggerating. So I just be like, I get to the mailbox, I'm like, oh, I got packed. What is this? And I open it up, I'm like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So
but,
did you get it? Did you get a T-shirt?
Huh?
Did you get a T-shirt?
I didn't get a T-shirt. And
I got you guys. I send you guys.
That's what I want.
And I'm actually waiting on T-shirts. I ordered them. I only ordered black, white, and gray. But I'm gonna send them out to every guest. So I'm gonna be shipping that out to you once they get in.
That's what's up.
Yep. So just let me know your size. This is my man shirt, Hustle Hard. That's his nickname, his brand. So I try to support everybody and everything, man. Like, you know what I mean? Show love.
Definitely. Exactly. 100%.
So these two products right here. So I got the prenatal, the high potency, and then I got the vital sperm.
Yeah.
So what do you feel makes your product different than other products on the market?
Gotcha. So with the prenatal and the vital sperm, and now with this company, like they reached out to me and they were very open to saying like, hey, look, we want to, create products, especially for, dog breeding and reproduction and whatnot. And how can we make it the best? And I gave a lot of my suggestions. They also have, obviously a laboratory, a team, things like that. And between the back and forth of that, it really kind of created something amazing. So, give you an example, is prenatal makes that amazing. Is most people know about I don't know if I could say it, the B word pills.
You can say it.
Yeah.
It's uncut, so I don't edit nothing. So it's kind of up to you. But
Got you. We got Oxymama, pills, all these types of different prenatals. The problem with them is one of the leading reasons why I could never recommend any of those to anybody, because the lack of folic acid in them was one of the biggest things. With folic acid, there was a scientific study done that you need to give a female about 4 to 5 milligrams daily in order to help prevent cleft palates and deformalities by at least I think it was 30 to 40%. So with that being said, they added the proper amount of folic acid that will help in portion prevent cleft palates and deformalities by a large margin. So if you were to look at Oxymama, for example, or bitch, you would have to give your female about 100 pills a day for them to get the proper amount of folic acid that these pills prenatals have. So yeah, so it's it's insane. I'm supposed to fly down to Florida and actually meet with the science, the lab, and the scientist that's in charge, because he's from Cuba. A little backstory: he's from Cuba. He specialized in horses and things like that, and they had him come over here from the States. From Cuba to the States, and he's amazing. So like I said, that's just one example of why that prenatal is so superior. It's not even funny, and then for the vital sperm, real quick, the black ginger. We've done studies where, and I've done this on my own dogs, where it nearly doubled the dog's sperm count. It took dogs that were producing little to no semen and actually started producing more semen. So black ginger is definitely essential. And there's been things that have been found in oxy stud that actually have been found to be harmful to the studs and things like that. So that's why we stand by that. Like I tell everybody, I don't sell nothing that I don't use on my dogs myself, and I only like to use the best. So whatever I'm using, more than likely it's the best, because I've used a lot of stuff, tried out a lot of stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. And then,
well, I guess I'm gonna have to order some of that.
You send me some pet rapid tests.
Okay, yeah. So we carry those as well. And those, we have the rapid test. Those are for whether you want to test for parvo giardia, whether you want to do a at-home pregnancy test. We got a lot of reproductive stuff on our website that's really just for breeders. That's what the website is. It's Breeders Hacks, and it's for breeders. And the other amazing thing that a lot of people, I feel don't realize or don't capitalize, or maybe I don't advertise it enough, I don't know, is we have an information center on our website. If you go down under our products page, there's an information center. I literally have articles of just like we were talking about earlier about issues with the dogs pooping and things like that. Right there, information center. If you tap on that, there's literally, like I said, articles, and literally they're just my YouTube videos, but I've also added notes if there's specific dosages when it comes to deworming, things like that. all my notes are there as well. So it's actually my own personal digital notebook, but I share it with you guys.
That's dope.
Okay, yeah, that's respect.
So I don't think there's really anything like that.
Nah.
And if it is, it's not free.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so, if it is, it's not free.
Yep.
So the website's breedershack.com.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all make sure y'all tap in, grab your products. I know he has a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
So we'll do a quick rundown so you can kind of see what he got.
And the cool thing too is we more than likely, like I'm like 99% sure, anything that you see on our website, we have a YouTube video why you need to use it, things like that. We really just put together the things that we feel like are essential for all dog breeders. I really just sat down with my wife and said, what are the things that we use on the regular that every dog breeder should have, and that's what we put up.
That's dope. Yeah, that's dope.
So,
yeah. But as you can
That's
see,
it right there. That incubator. That's it right there.
Yeah, it's a nice incubator. It definitely is. It definitely comes in handy.
Yeah.
We used to build our own, and then we just found that those to be a lot easier, a lot better. Especially when you're hooking up puppies to oxygen and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Important. So, like I said, people don't realize. I'm actually a pretty bad salesman. If it's something that I don't think is necessary, I probably will tell you not to buy it.
Okay.
We put up everything that we felt like was really, really. I mean, this is everything we use on a regular basis. So if we use it, we would like to say we like to save money and we're not too bougie, but we these are all stuff that we feel are super important that we use. And the list is continuously adding because there's always new stuff that we're adding, using things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. But yeah, that's the website. So y'all make sure y'all tap in, go get what you need. Any questions? He's readily available.
Yeah.
So his number. He has his number on the page, on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah. So any questions, hit him up. Check with him.
It may take me to get back to you, but I try to respond back to everybody, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The lies this man tells. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I mean, I got a question for you guys.
What's
were
up,
you guys
man?
shocked? Because a lot of people are shocked when they find out. Were you guys shocked after watching my YouTube videos that y'all found out that I'm actually an exotic breeder?
Yep.
So yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Just from before. So before I seen your first dog, when I found you on I don't know how I found you on YouTube. Okay. And so I'm always on there looking at stuff for dogs. That's how you get information, by looking, listening, and learning. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking, I'm scrolling, I'm looking. You never once showed a dog. Like I think I went through like 5 or 6 videos. I never seen a dog. And then I seen a video. It was something you said like 20 bands. I think you did like I seen that and I was like, that's what he's doing. I thought you did Frenchies. Like, no lie. I thought you were doing Frenchies or something like that. Yeah.
And you know what it is too? Like, I'll just say real quick is if you can breed, this is the other thing. If you can properly breed exotic bullies, in my opinion, you could breed anything. It's really, I mean, the problems that we come across, like some people look at it yet again as a bad thing, but if you know how to address these problems and face them head on as a good breeder, and obviously not progress with faults in your bloodline or not introduce them in the first place, whatever the case may be. Well, with the way these bloodlines are set up, it's really hard to not introduce them, but not double up on recessive negative genes. I mean, if you can breed these dogs, you can breed anything, in my opinion. And the same thing goes for like the next thing I would say is like English bulldogs. If you could breed English bulldogs, you more than likely can breed anything as well. So
it's good to know.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a challenge that I enjoy because you come across something new, you learn that for next time. I get people who breed poodles and stuff like that. Not to knock poodles or anything, but I get people who breed poodles and they're like the things that was issues for exotic bullies like 10 years ago. Whatever. So. I just thought that I thought that was interesting because people get shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I
Like,
definitely
okay.
was. Yeah, I definitely was.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, I was like, you know what? And the other thing too is there's breeders out there on YouTube. Like, I always get the first thing people tell me is like they'll say like Love My Pups is one.
Yeah.
There's other big YouTubers out there, but none of them breed exotic bullies. And another thing is, it's also a bad thing that there isn't no other exotic bully breeders on YouTube because of the problems that we face aren't similar. Some of them are similar, but some of them are very different when it comes to other breeds. Like, for example, I'll just use Love My Pups as an example, right? He breeds Frenchies. They're more cleaner Frenchies. They're not super heavy bullied up
Yeah.
Frenchies.
Yeah.
The problem is people will say, oh, I saw this video on how to treat flat chests. I did it, and my puppy still died. I say, well, that's because those are Frenchies. You're breeding exotic English bulldogs or exotic bullies. That same trick isn't going to work. Our puppies sometimes could come out flat chested out the womb.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put them on a surface that will be conducive to their growth without harming, without them getting the flat chest and then, everything shutting down and dying on you. You have to put them on a surface right away. You can't put them on a flat surface like what they do.
Yeah.
Because we breed two separate dogs. But a lot of the information is universal. Like I said, but some of it is very different. So that's where I was like, I think I need to get on and, help my exotic bully breeders and exotic breeders in general. I don't think there's exotic breeders that breed heavy bully type featured dogs on YouTube. I could be wrong, but I haven't really seen them.
There's not many English bulldogs either. There's barely any English bulldog like YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's mostly XLs and stuff like that. Those breeders, I feel like they're more camera friendly.
Yeah, true. It's true. And that's why in the beginning I didn't put a lot of my dogs up.
Yeah.
It's because I also it was about the knowledge. It wasn't about being judged for what I breed.
Yeah.
Now I'm more confident. I could put my dogs up on the channel and stuff, and I try to more so. But I mean, like I said, for the YouTube, I've just really kind of kept that to the knowledge. And then if you want to learn more about my dogs, then you could go over to my Instagram, and I have all my dogs on there. That's where I have fun and whatnot with my dogs, and mostly on there and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Do you sell dogs off? Do you sell a lot of dogs off of YouTube?
No, surprisingly, mostly on Instagram.
Because I've heard some breeders, they're like, oh, you need to get a YouTube page because that's how you sell. That's where I sell majority of my dogs. You know what I'm saying? But then also, I see some, not calling any names, some of the breeders you see on YouTube, it's like, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't have the knowledge.
In my opinion, yet again, like what we were talking about earlier, you get what you give. Like, I think that if you put hard effort into promotion, no matter what platform you're on, you'll be able to sell puppies. If you wait until the puppies are born and then you try selling them, you're going to have a hard time selling them, whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. Because I get some people who are successful on Facebook. I know some people who they do international sales strictly off of Facebook. For me, it's mostly on Instagram. And I'm also at a point because of the amount that I sell my puppies for, as well as I do all these other things as well. I have multiple streams of income, so I don't really rely heavily on selling puppies. I'm actually able to keep a lot of stuff, as well as I can be very selective with what I sell. So to be honest, I don't sell a lot of puppies throughout the year. And it's really also because I like my blood to be very exclusive. I'm not really aiming to have my dogs in every backyard anymore. In the beginning, that was the goal, but not really anymore.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. But as far as you keeping as many of your as much of your blood as possible, how does that go into the way that you breed? As far as I know, you said you have a partner, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, of course, you guys are working off the same blood for the most part.
Yeah.
So how often do you go off the yard for like studs and stuff like that?
At one point in time, we were going off the yard for quite some time, but now we don't really plan on leaving the yard at least for the next couple of years.
Okay.
There's really just not the need anymore. It's just one of those things that as a breeder, you know, you go through specific phases. Like sometimes you need blood from the in, sometimes you need to learn to what you have. It's all about like knowing where you're at and what you need to do with it at that particular time. And like I can't sit here and tell you, only like kind of like you doing research and evaluating where you're personally at can you really tell, you know?
Okay.
That's pretty much what happened now. Taking the bloods that we've gotten, as well as the blood that we have here, like we made a substantial purchase and purchased a dog, Crossbones. This dog Crossbones. We did like 5 breedings to him before we ever owned him.
Okay.
Opportunity arrived. We were able to own him, so we purchased him, and then we ran all our females to him. And now it's just kind of like tightening up and utilizing that blood and doing some line breeding with it, things like that. You know, some breeders are against line breeding and inbreeding. I think of line breeding and inbreeding as tools depending on what you're trying to do with it. You know.
Mhm.
Okay. So, question about line breeding and inbreeding, because some people don't know what they are. Can you explain?
Okay. Yeah, so line breeding is when you're gonna go ahead and like you're going to take well, let me start with inbreeding, it's easier. Inbreeding is when you're gonna go ahead and breed like say a brother to a sister. It's very tightly bred, tightly bred relatives to make it sound as simple as possible. Line breeding is when you're utilizing more of like distant relatives. But the what were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I thought Eugene was gonna say something.
Oh no, I was coughing.
All right. And then line breeding is when you're using more distant relatives, but you're still trying to keep the gene pool very tight, meaning you're not having too many scattered genetics all over the place. You know, line breeding may be where it's like you're taking the grandfather to the granddaughter or something like that. You know, and they're just dog breeding tools. And for me, for example, I'm all about consistency. I want my blood that like just like any of these other breeds. If you breed a Chihuahua to something or a German Shepherd or whatever the case may be, you're gonna see the genetics of that German Shepherd or that Chihuahua. And an exotic bully hasn't been around long enough that you can breed to an exotic bully, and depending on what bloodline you use, the genetics, the looks can be all over the place. So that's really my key thing is consistency in breeding what we call proponent dogs, which is dogs that heavily throw themselves into the litter. So it's a hereditary thing that like these dogs are just known to throw large quantities of themselves in the litter. Like for example, our stud Crossbones, he's known to throw maybe like 70 or 80% of himself in the litter instead of just like it is a 50-50 split, but some dogs throw themselves more into the gene pool than others. You'll see more of their characteristics in it. So that's kind of what we're after is if I can breed a dog that throws maybe 80% of himself in the litter and then do a line breeding, taking the blood back to him and just consistently having dogs in the pedigree. And now I'm getting intricate. I hope it's not too...
Nah, you good. You good.
But all right, like I said, just essentially, if this is your pedigree, and pedigree meaning just the lineage, you know, the dogs, the relatives that come off of the 2 dogs that produced your puppy or whatever the case may be, I want all those dogs to throw like 80% of themselves. I want all those dogs to be super consistent with producing what they look like, and that's what we call like proponent dogs, and that's why we line breed so that then we can have a consistent look every single time. I could breed to a pit bull, and especially like my dog Crossbones because he's a proponent dog. His father was a proponent dog, and his mother was a proponent dog from the father. I could breed him to a pit bull, and I seen him throw exotic dogs with crazy fronts and all that crazy stuff. So, you know, that's really the goal. You know.
Okay.
So how close is too close?
How close is too close? I mean, in certain scenarios, I mean, like I'm not really a big advocate for doing like, for example, brother sister breedings and stuff like that. I don't really see that to be necessary. I mean, it's all contingent on the breeding. I don't know if I could really say like this specific technique is too close because you may be dealing with like half of the pedigree may be tightly bred dogs, but the other half may be so super scatterbred that rule like it, I really couldn't say. I really couldn't say what's too close. Each breeding, you have to look at each breeding individually, and yeah, I couldn't really like answer like one golden rule for everything. So sorry, but
yeah, no, I asked that because a lot of times you'll see brother and sister a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of like, is that too close?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll put it this way: it's rare for me to do it. I don't really see the need for it, like, unless there's like a real look. Because all right, so there's a coin toss because you're gonna double up on a lot of stuff. So, usually with those inbreeding type of breedings, you're gonna get some of the best dogs. You'll get some of the best genetics because you're doubling up on them. So if you want dogs with, I don't know, crazy heads, for example, and you're doubling up on that, well, it's more than likely you're going to get dogs with the crazy heads, and those dogs will probably be able to produce it. But you might also get some of the super negative. You will get some of the best, but you'll get some of the worst of the worst. So if you are having dogs that have, health problems, genetic health problems, and those are double recessive, meaning if you breed to another dog that has those traits, then when you double up on it, you're for sure going to see it throughout the litter. You may also see some of the worst puppies as well. Some puppies that may not be even breedable or whatever the case may be. It all depends on the dog that you're dealing with. So that's why I said it's hard to say, like, where do you draw the line? Because some dogs are super heavily have bad double recessive that you don't want to double up on, and some are healthy enough that you may feel confident doing a type breeding like that, and the double recessives, the negative traits may be to a super minimum. It might be worth the risk. So it all depends, because then with the next generation, you should be able to wash that out, or do an outcross, whatever. So it's just all a part of being a dog man, all part about being a breeder. It's how to properly mix the genetics.
Yeah, I'm just learning that people do that with English Bulldogs. I never knew people did that with English Bulldogs till recent. And I was like, what?
Yeah. So it's crazy, especially like, and I'll just say too, like, what's crazy too is I learned all this stuff, actually surprisingly from old game breeders. That's where I learned all this stuff from. It wasn't even from, like, none of this stuff is really new. It's all stuff that's been recycled. Exotic breeders really aren't doing anything super, new in that perspective. Like a lot of the line breeding, inbreeding, that was taught to a lot of people. That was taught to me from game breeders, that were breeding pit bulls and stuff like that. So there's a lot of knowledge in those books. If you can find the old books, a lot of knowledge. That's why I learned a lot, like, on the channel that I share. There's a lot in those books, but a lot of those books, like, I'll give you one book. If you could find it, listen, anyone, any subscribers, anybody, if they could find this book, I'll give them like $100 easily. And then whatever they want for the book on top. Because this book, the guy only made like 300 copies. It's called the Pitbull Bible. And it was controversial because you had a lot of, like, breeders that were also like into the dog fighting, but that's not what interested me. What interested me was the other half of the book was all care tips and tricks and things like that, that had like a lot of health remedies, medicines, things like that were super beneficial to the dogs. How to kill fleas and things like that. They had a lot of knowledge, like, did stupid stuff, but they had a lot of knowledge when it came to caring for the dogs. So
yeah, that's what's up. So how long do you normally keep your puppies before you let them go?
I would say like 8 to 11 weeks, but there's a catch to it. That's if I know I'm selling the puppies from the litter. If and I haven't done something like that in a long time. Honestly, I'll sit on puppies till 6 months. I don't have a problem waiting, because of the fact that I'm breeding for myself. I don't really breed to sell puppies anymore. I don't breed to for them to leave. I breed them because it's stuff that I want to keep. So I have no problem sitting. It's unorthodox, but when I started to speak to other breeders that have been doing it for a long time, when you breed for yourself and you're breeding for specific traits and you're trying to keep that look, it's worth it to sit on them until they're 6. And the other thing too is our dogs, they remain looking like puppies for a very long time. They're very small. So it's also easier to sell them versus if you had like an XL and you were trying to sell, sell XL months, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But still, even if I was breeding XLs, I wouldn't have a problem with sitting on them for 6 months, because that 6 months, like that, you will kick yourself, and I've done this. You will kick yourself in the butt when you sold a dog for a small price, and that dog turns around and turns out to be phenomenal, and you're like, oh my god, I've done it. So I gotta sit on them and do it that way, and not be in a rush to sell puppies. You make mistakes. That's the best way to put it. You make mistakes when you rush to sell puppies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
you're typically 8 to 11 weeks if
Yeah.
I knew I was going to sell the litter.
Yeah. And I think that's, what did I say? 12? I said 12. I said I was going to do like 12 to 14.
Yeah, you said
weeks.
12 to 14.
Yeah.
And I think
it all depends. Like if you know, like my blood, I know out the gate usually, because I've been dealing for enough time now. I know what characteristics I'm looking for. So there may be, there are the circumstances where I might find a puppy that I'm like, okay, I already know this one, it's not going to be within the camp. I'll sell it, whatever the case may be. Then, like I said, I'll let it go at around that 8 to 11 week mark. But for the most part, like I said, most of my breedings, we breed for consistency. So consistency mixed with you're breeding for yourself, and you're not trying to really you're not breeding to sell them, but to keep, and then you sell what, anything extra, I guess you could say. Like if I got enough females, maybe I'll sell something off the litter. Makes it hard to sell puppies,
Yeah.
But I got a nice list, so that's not a problem,
Yeah.
That's another thing. Capitalize off a waiting list.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you got a waiting list and you're good. How many puppies do you normally have per litter? I know it is not a normal, but is there like
with exotic bullies? Surprisingly, you can have litters. Depending on what you consider large. One of my litters, I think it was like last year, we had like 8 puppies, 7, 8, like that. So exotic, you can still have large litters.
And more you do all C-sections?
Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah, you have no choice. You're dealing with dogs that small.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk to your female, and it's not worth the risk to your puppies. Even a lot of bully breeds, I don't really recommend going natural. I believe you should do C-section. Like Frenchies, I believe you should do C-section. English Bulldogs, you should do English C-section. I'm sorry. American Bullies, borderline standards, and smaller, I think you should go for the C-section. XLs, you can go natural. It's just you got to do your due diligence. Make sure if you're gonna go natural, you got to get an X-ray before the pups are born. Make sure you got the proper amount in there and stuff like that. So yeah, but the C-section, if you go to someone who's knowledgeable, it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say that kind of depends on the size of the female too? Like for XL specifically.
For XL specifically, I'm not gonna lie. I never really bred XLs. We bred standard extremes, which were, I guess you could say tipping on that borderline.
Yeah.
XLs, you can breed naturally. My biggest thing is like, it's if you're gonna go natural, you have to get an X-ray. Make sure you know how many puppies are in there, because the worst thing that can happen is like not all the puppies pass through. One stays in, turns septic, she dies, that puppy dies. Now you got a bunch of puppies and no mother. So I guess the other thing too is like the dollar amount of puppies that we deal with, it's not even worth the risk. You know? Just to say it was natural,
Yeah.
And then I had someone in my YouTube try to comment and say, well, if they can't have them naturally, then I don't want to breed that or whatever. And I said, that's great. Everybody's open to their opinion, but I believe 30% of women get C-section. So you're saying women shouldn't have, babies as well or whatever. 30%, so.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, each his own,
That's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt.
So.
But so the C-sections, how many times do you normally breed your females?
Really no more than 4.
Okay.
Usually Usually I'm done with them within like 2 or 3 breedings, and it's just because I know what I want and I get straight to the point and I do the breeding. I don't do senseless breedings. I obviously don't do breedings for money. I breed for what the look that we're after. And yeah, about 4 breedings. Usually, like, and this is what some of my mentor taught me. If you can't produce out of that female what you wanted within 4 breedings, probably shouldn't be breeding that female. And I don't, you need to go back to the drawing board or something. If you can't out of 4 breedings produce something that will take her place,
Yeah.
it should be an improvement of her, really.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
for sure. Gene, what's up, man? Where the puppies at, man? You having the puppies today?
Yeah, I'm not showing nothing. I didn't get no vitamins. I didn't get the stuff from my stud. I didn't get nothing. T hid that.
Man, I didn't know. I checked
almost every day.
Bro, I checked my ask him. I just sent him the message today, like, yo, I got the package. Like, I'm dead serious. I just checked my mailbox. I don't check my mailbox. The only thing that comes through the mail is bills, unless you order something. So,
nah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and most of the bills come to, they electronic now. So when I check the mailbox, it's like, oh, what is this? But yeah.
Yo, Eugene, you hit us up, man. Like I said, I'll take care of you, man. I'm so
we're not gonna talk about hitting people up. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
You had a question for me. You did a question for me.
Yeah, so it was just about diarrhea. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to put my phone in a joint. Okay. It was about diarrhea and stuff like that with puppies. Like, what do you do if they have diarrhea? Like, what's the remedy? Because I know I've heard the enema. I did that because I follow your video. Okay. But then it's just like, I don't know. I guess it's worrying me because this is my first English Bulldog. You know what I'm saying? Litter.
Yeah. So, like I said, just to backtrack, because it's your first English Bulldog litter, you're gonna come across problems that are almost nearly unheard of in other breeds, like XLs and things like that. Prime example was like that chest thing I was talking about. I never knew about that until after I got into this breed, and I'm like, holy cow, never heard of this. Literally, I mean, your puppies can die from it. But anyway.
Yeah, and then fading puppy syndrome, it had me worried. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hold on. But they're very active. Like they aren't, they're active. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I would say when it comes to the diarrhea with puppies, there's a mixture of things that could be going on. So I kind of like address it systematically. And I'm going to be doing an episode on this, but just off the top of my head, what you're going to want to do is take the puppy's temperature. That's the first thing. See if they have a fever. Okay. That'll tell you if they're fighting an infection. The next thing is after you took the temperature and made sure that they have a fever or not, I check the mothers. Checking the mothers are important because if they're like battling some type of infection or something like that, see that's nice. You got some merles going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. That's really nice. People ask me why I don't get into the merles either. They're nice, man. They're nice.
Yeah, so the dad is a black tri-merle, and his mom is actually Russian. She has Russian blood.
Nice.
So so I got imported. We have imported blood on him, and then also the male is a black and white with black ticking. This is a big male.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. I love.
They just turned 2 weeks yesterday.
Awesome. I love English Bulldogs. I love Frenchies too. The only problem is people ask me why I don't breed them is because I'll just make them look like my exotic bullies. So that's why I breed them. Oh wow, that's beautiful. I love Merle. I mean, the only reason why I don't breed Merle is because like I said, I do line breeding and things like that. I feel a little restricted because I can't. If I have a stud that's phenomenal and he's a Merle, I can't double up on him the way I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep that Merle away.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a beautiful color. I like it. It's beautiful. You got nice smash muzzle too. They look like cats.
Yeah, man. And they have really nice ropes on them as well. Coming out now, it's finally showing.
Yeah, that's what I breed for. I like having ropes on my exotic bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, so I got a nice little black tri.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Gene be trying to hide the pups, man. I told him you gotta show the pups, man. Show that growth, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow, beautiful.
I'm gonna do another. We're gonna
And
do a video probably this weekend once their eyes all the way open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
But you
is
can see
that
their
is that a
faces
boy
are
or a
nice,
girl?
man. Right here. This
Yeah.
is a boy.
So that's like the mom is black and white. So that's
Yeah,
that was her.
but his bone is just crazy. They were in the
Yeah.
incubator, so you know they got to
Beautiful.
clean them off. But
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. So Gene had a good, nice, successful delivery.
Yeah, it was 7 we were supposed to have, but the 7th one didn't grow. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Probably so. That one had to go. So we got 6, 4 females, 2 males.
Okay. I mean, things like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you'll come across what I've seen that's more common with the EBs is you'll come across like water puppies and stuff like that. That yet again, like I said, you come across stuff that's completely different than a lot of these other breeds. You know, but they look good. They look nice and healthy for sure.
That's right. I need to get that incubator from you now. So
Yeah.
we'll be
It's
talking.
great.
We'll be talking.
It's a great investment because until you need it,
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing is when you need it. It's like, man, like you need it. You know, like I got. Right. Actually, during this interview, I got somebody. I'm in New York. I got somebody all the way from Pennsylvania, which is like a state or two over. They're on their way here now to pick up a machine because the puppies was born. They came into an issue. Now they need the suction machine. So, it's when you need it, you need it. You know, so it's good to slowly build up your your arsenal and inventory of these tools that'll help you keep these puppies alive. Because item saves one puppy. If that incubator saves one puppy, it paid for itself.
Exactly.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Blackout said it. Pay to play. So if you don't want to pay, the dog game is not for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's not cheap.
Exactly.
Not free. You know.
No like, sleep when you're whelping litters.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
To Eugene, just to answer your question though, real quick though, about the diarrhea and whatnot. Check the female. A lot of people don't realize if she has some type of infection going on, she'll pass that along through her milk. So I tell people, check the female. Does she have a temperature? Does she have a fever? Check the milk. Squeeze some of the milk out and take a whiff of it. Does it look discolored? Does the color look wrong? Does it smell super does it smell bad? Those are all signs that, hey, something's up with her milk. You might need to take the puppies off before something, bad goes on. If those are the cases, another thing to look at are weigh the puppies. Make sure you're weighing the puppies. If they're going up in weight, that's a good sign. I mean, you see diarrhea doesn't mean that they're perfectly, you're out of the woods, but at least they're going up in weight. It's not something super life-threatening at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Between those few things, then what I do is, okay, you know what? If it's diarrhea, we need to, bind it up a little bit. I'll give them some pumpkin puree.
Yeah.
Just a dab on the roof of their mouth. That'll help bind up the stool. And then I start going into like some antibiotics. So what I'll do is I'll give them like great antibiotics that every breeder should have on standby is like some Albon is great for diarrhea, things like that. Albon's good. Metronidazole. Albon, there's a few places you have to go. Like Albon you can get on caninePharmacyDirect.com. But most of the time you'll need a script from your vet. I know you don't need a script on there. Metronidazole you can get for fish. That's a good one for diarrhea for puppies as well. There's this thing called green juice. I got to do an episode on it. People ask us about it. It's so weird. In the exotic bully community, we all know about it, but other breeds don't know about it. And it literally, I don't know if you guys heard about the green juice?
No.
The green juice cure. So it's this breeder, and it sounds crazy, but it's this breeder that people question what's inside of it because it has different antibiotics and things like that. But it literally, I mean, I've seen this stuff cure parvo.
Really?
So amazing. Yeah, I've seen this stuff cure parvo. And like from somebody from me coming out and saying that, like that's how you know like this shit, like it works good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So fruit juice is another great thing to have on standby. And like I said, it's antibiotics, but the guy, he doesn't exactly say what's in it. But within our community, we've seen plenty of puppies survive parvo. And it's one of those things I don't believe in really giving my dog something I don't know 100% what's inside of it. But when they're on death's door, hey, I'm willing to try anything. And that's when I learned it. And that stuff like brought them back like that. So green juice, great thing to have. But I would say metronidazole, Albon, things like that. Those are things you can give. Sulfamethoxazole and trimethoprim. That's another thing you can get those for fish, and you give that to the puppies, and that'll help a lot with like coccidia, giardia type properties. Another thing you can do that'll help a lot, just test them. We have these tests on breedershacks.com. I literally, the minute I see something crazy like that, diarrhea, whatever, I'm testing them to see if they have giardia or parvo, because if it's parvo, I know to treat it more aggressively. Versus if it's giardia, I can hit them on some fendibendazole and some sulfamethoxazole or Albon, stuff like that. Yep, those test kits he got right there.
So another question. You said parvo. Puppies can get parvo at what age? What's the earliest stage?
I believe they can kind of get it at really like at any. I don't know. I think they could get it at any, and because like I've seen a lot of people get like parvo type symptoms, and it's been all over the place as far as ages go, because supposedly a dog can get parvo just from like a puppy can get parvo just from a fly, you know.
Oh, wow.
So so like I said, I mean all right, so the key things I would say to treat it is the pumpkin puree. That's the first thing you can buy.
We got it. Mm-hmm.
Have some Albon. You can get Albon. I would highly recommend, if you can't get it from, like I said, Canine Pharmacy or these other sites that you can order it from, ask your vet to order a big bottle of Albon. That's usually really good for diarrhea type situations. And then some honorary mentions is also like metronidazole. You can get that for fish. Fendibendazole for giardia is really good. Fendibendazole is actually Safeguard, for goats.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get that at your Tractor Supply. That's fendibendazole. You could give the puppies some fendibendazole, and that really helps tremendously treating giardia. So there's some things you could get over the counter to have that will help with like the diarrhea and stuff like that. The key thing I would say now, thinking about it, is check mom first, and then also test the stool and see if it's a parvo or giardia scenario. Okay. If it's not parvo, then I jump to. If it's not parvo or giardia, then I treat it as if it's coccidia. That's kind of the way about it.
All right, so Gene, come pick up a test tomorrow. So I got one for you, man.
I'm gonna have to meet you half. Well, no, I'll be in town because I work tomorrow. Yeah.
Because especially if it's like a parvo scenario, then I just jump, like I said, to the heavy guns real quick. I'll put them on like some of that green. I'll give them. It depends on the age of the puppy too, but I'll put them on some Serenia. I'll put them on like IV fluids right away. I won't wait. I'll put them on IV fluids right away. That's another thing too. Check the puppy's gums. See if they're colored. They should be a bright pink. Snap test on the puppy. That'll tell you if it's dehydrated. Like if you pinch the skin. What test? Oh, pinch the skin. If you pinch the skin and it snaps right back, then they're hydrated. It's like if you did that on your finger, right? Let me see.
Yeah.
If I'm probably dehydrated, but you see, like if you pinch it and it snaps right back, then you're hydrated. If it doesn't snap right back, then that means that the puppy's dehydrated. So you could do that on the back of their neck. And if it doesn't snap right back, then they're severely usually dehydrated, and then you need to give them IV fluids, and that'll help keep them alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like I said, I'm gonna do an episode on it because there's like a systematic way that I kind of go about this stuff, because it's tough. A lot of vets, believe it or not, don't know how to. 90% of vets, 90% of people that I come across, their vet just puts the puppies on Clavamox and hopes things get better.
Yeah.
And it's a 50-50 chance if that's going to work or not. These vets, they're taught a lot. They're taught how to, heal broken bones and dogs that hit by cars and stuff like that. But when it comes to newborn puppies, a lot of them really don't. They don't know a lot. They really don't know. I know it sounds crazy, but I would guarantee that like probably someone who's been breeding like English bulldogs or exotic bullies for years probably has more knowledge as far as newborn puppies and like sick type symptoms, like exactly what you're talking about, is probably more knowledgeable than a lot of vets. Surprisingly, they're just not up to date when it comes to stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a question. So my
Yeah.
XL, she gets like a ton of sleep in her eyes. So I have to wipe her face every day. Every day. What normally causes that? Is it just allergies or
what was it?
like she has like a ton of like discharge? Like,
Oh,
and it's
mucus.
not all the time, but it's in her eyes.
What I found that works kind of good is I mean, so one of the things is it can also be dry eye, which dry eye it's like I had a female that happened to where basically they're just not producing enough tears.
Okay.
So that's what happens is they get a discharge over their eye. I don't know if this is similar, but they get a discharge over their eye, and it's kind of actually a little hard to wipe off.
Yeah, because it's actually on the eye sometimes.
Yeah. So sometimes it's because their eyes aren't producing enough tears. So maybe when sleeping or whatever, maybe she's not producing enough tears, so it dries up, and that's where you get the mucus, the film over the eyes. So all you really need to do is one of two things: either like her eyes start to produce some tears, and it causes it to loosen up and kind of just slide right off, or what you can use is like castor oil. That's what I used, castor oil. And you put drops. And unfortunately, from what I've learned, and even talking to vets, there's really no cure for dry eye. Some people say it's like a secondary, not infection. Like it's like a secondary response to like their diet or whatever. You could try switching the food and maybe seeing if that's what it is. But I tried that with one of my females, and I just give her castor, and it lubricates the eye, and the mucus just comes right off.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Yeah, that works.
Hopefully that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we over an hour. We're an hour and 11 in. I know you got stuff to do. Nah, man, I appreciate you for sure.
Definitely.
I know you got stuff to do. I know you said you got a client coming from PA.
Yeah, definitely.
So might be yeah. So I don't want to hold you any longer. I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, bro.
Welcome back anytime. And you know, hopefully we can collaborate on some stuff here soon.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys, and I mean, just stay consistent. You know what I'm saying with what y'all doing. Like people love watching stuff exactly like this, and my channel is a prime example. Within like the last year, it grew like crazy. So just you guys, same thing. Just stay consistent.
Yeah, I knew I found you within the last year.
Yeah.
So just stay consistent because I think representation is key, and seeing more intellectual people bringing the knowledge and the information to the game is important. So I appreciate y'all for having me on here.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you. Hey, man, we out of here. Catch you next week.